Hey, Internet. Join us here at Darkside Records August 29th from 9 p.m. to just a little over midnight for the release of the new Tool record, Fear Inoculum. We're going to have fun, horrible karaoke, and I'm told Maynard trivia. So gooch up and get your caduceus on and join us for the new record, available at midnight, August 30th.
Hey, this is Mike from All Out War. We just put out a record called Crawl Among the Filth on Unbeaten Records. Come and buy it now.
Hey, Internet. We are having another edition of our world-famous indoor punk rock flea market, also known as Patch Adam. Swamp Celso? Swap Celso. Tiffy of Swamp Ass. Anyway, this is an indoor market that is dedicated to DIY, to punk rock, to patches, enamel pins. We're going to have awesome local vendors with original art, patches, and enamel pins. We're going to have some food. We're going to have live music. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you enjoy patches, if you need some new threads, maybe you want some new vintage band t-shirts, maybe you just want to support some cool Hudson Valley artists, come out. It'll be happening from noon until 5, September 21st. Come on down to Darkside Records, support your scene, support your local independent record store, and get some cool shit.
This is the Darkside Records and Gallery Podcast.
Welcome to the Darkside Records Not and Gallery Records Podcast.
Why do you say that?
Well, I'm trying to, reshape the intro to get the proper nomenclature for the store.
Does it still say and gallery? Is it a little horse thing?
A little horse thing?
Yeah, before the horse neighs. It said Darkside Records and Gallery. Does it still say that?
I don't know.
It might. I don't really
crap.
know. I don't usually listen.
Hang on, I'm going to go back and listen.
This is the Darkside Records and Gallery Podcast.
Yeah, still there.
Yep.
Okay. Crap.
Typical.
Oh, I got to re-record all our shit now at the beginning? Mm-hmm. Oh, god damn it.
Branding.
Okay.
Started off unorganized.
Welcome, then, to the Darkside Records and Gallery minus the Gallery podcast.
There's math?
You know math's not my strong suit.
Oh, I know.
This, of course, is a monthly podcast brought to you by the good folks at Darkside Records, of course located at 611 Duchess Turnpike in Poughkeepsie, or on the web at darksiderecords.com. This is a podcast about music, the music industry.
Flatulence?
Okay, I was going to say fart jokes. I like that we're back on the same page.
Okay.
All right. I'm JB.
I'm JJ.
Hey, man.
Hey.
I haven't seen you in a little bit.
I know. I just got back last night.
That's right. You want to tell everybody where you were?
I was in New Orleans for a Record Store Day summer camp for the past week, hanging out with like 350 other record store owners and all the labels and distributors and people who are involved in the record business.
That's cool.
I had a lot of drinks, and I'm very tired.
That was me yesterday as well, so I think we're on a similar wave. That's why we locked up in the beginning.
Yesterday was the first day I hadn't had anything to drink in 7 days or something like that. It's not my usual streak, actually.
Right.
Pretty spaced out usually. Between the drinks, not mentally.
Whichever. Whatever. Anything to report? Anything good that you want to talk about from that?
Nah, we'll get there. You always come back full of ideas and things that you want to do, improvements, hopefully, that you want to make to the store.
People couldn't see that he just did air quotes.
I did air quotes. It's a podcast. It's good for air quotes.
The good visual medium.
Yeah, we made some new label friends, so that's cool. Hopefully we get some more cool shit. That's always my goal, is to make the store better and get more cool things to give away to our friends that come see us.
Sure. Well, and this is we are very happy to have some special guests here for this episode. We have some local boys done good in the metal and hardcore scene. We have two members of All Out War who are here. Hey, y'all.
How's it going?
It's going okay. Hey. Why don't you introduce yourselves? Tell both listeners who you are.
I'm Mike. I sing for All Out War. And I'm Andy. I play guitar in All Out War.
Cool. Hey, well, thank you for coming
Thanks
and
for
being
having
here.
us. Thanks for having us.
I guess why don't you tell listeners who may not have heard of you guys, tell us a little bit about your band.
A little bit about All Out War. Let's say we've been a band for a long time. So we started in 1991, and we're still here. That's all you need to know.
All right. I've definitely seen All Out War at hardcore shows. Let's see, I moved up to the Hudson Valley 20-something years ago, so I feel like I have regularly seen throughout that time All Out War. But I feel like never personally crossed paths. Like, we've never, like, actually, like, interacted in some capacity. I've played in a whole bunch of really dumb hardcore bands and some not-so-dumb hardcore bands.
What were some bands you were in?
Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, no?
We don't.
So that's one of the things
Let's
that's off
see.
limits.
Let's see. We've got the dad umpires. That one with the elephant. That's all I got.
Band.
Yeah, it was an elephant band. It actually just all covers of speeches made by Elephant Man.
That is off limits.
What?
Mike knows that. Do you remember that? Do you remember my weird Elephant Man thing?
No.
That's the one thing in the world that I'm afraid of.
The Elephant Man?
The Elephant Man. I'm not even comfortable with you saying it over and over again.
Well, that's why I brought it up.
Well, you'll be happy to know.
The research team did pretty well.
you that's a deep secret.
Absolutely.
That's a good find.
Thanks, Dave Baccio.
So you're not a fan of Joseph Merrick?
I'm not. I'm getting less and less comfortable
What?
with the questions. I'm regretting saying that there are certain things that weren't off bounds.
We do have it
I
on
didn't think
tapes.
we were going to go here.
To be fair, Elephant Man doesn't come up very often on our podcast. Sorry. He Who Shall Not Be Named doesn't come up very
You
often
start playing
in our
like
podcast.
the last song on all the Mastodon records.
Yeah, exactly.
The ode to him. Yeah.
To be fair, that's pretty much the main reason I know that person.
Right.
That's why you formed that band.
That's right. 15 years ago.
That's right.
And got this tattoo of a 5-headed elephant.
Wow. That doesn't bother me.
5 elephants doesn't bother you?
No.
If I throw the word man on the end of it.
David Lynch movie, yeah.
I've never seen
But
the
you're
David
fine with
Lynch movie.
elephants?
Oh yeah, it's not
The
elephants.
animal elephants you're okay
Elephants I'm fine with.
with.
Yeah.
I never knew any of this, so it's all
You
new.
did know this
I
because
don't
we
remember.
were because I joined the band in '98, and my first tour with you guys, I told you that, and everybody thought it was funny. And then we were in a mall in the middle of nowhere, and you guys came running, saying there's a Halloween mask shop down there, and they have it in the window. So very early on, these
This must
guys
have really scarred you because
I know.
it did. And these guys were for a bunch of tough guys. They were really sensitive to the one thing that I told them that bothered me.
Meaning, when you say they were sensitive about it, meaning they cared and respected you?
Oh yeah,
were very nurturing?
Because normally they would probably lead me to it. And,
Right, or leave an elephant man head in the
But
van.
they made sure
I'm
that I
surprised
didn't
we
go
didn't.
around it.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that you didn't.
Wow.
I feel like this is gonna ruin that.
This is going to open up a thing I never meant to
Nicer
do.
than I thought.
If we end the band, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't think this
Well,
would...
we didn't used to have phones, and now you could just look it up on the phone. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my weird thing.
Maybe we shouldn't give him the Babar parting gifts that we had planned for him.
I don't like Babar, but for different reasons. Not afraid of him.
I feel like we...
More of a Megillah man, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so you... I don't even know where to go from that. So y'all have been a band since 91. Officially. There's a guy apparently gardening.
Vacuuming outside.
Yeah, right outside
Yeah.
the door.
Coming up on your Pearl anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
30 years.
30 years. Holy shit.
I'm coming up on my first anniversary, which I think is paper.
First wedding anniversary.
First wedding anniversary,
Congratulations.
Yeah. We had when I was visiting my family over the weekend, we were talking about what anniversary was what, and we couldn't figure out what your first anniversary actually
I
is.
think it is paper. Right?
So what do I get my wife?
Something
Old newspaper.
cash.
Done.
Piles of cash.
Perfect. I hope she listens. Sorry if I spoiled the gift
The
there,
old
baby.
newspaper might not make it to year 2.
Yeah.
Well, you can cook on it. That sounds romantic.
Yes.
Oh, I could find the newspaper from the day we got married.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
That's pretty good.
Something like that.
Pretty good.
Something thoughtful like that.
Yeah, something
crap,
that's like
I can't do
a
that
horrible
now.
headline, you know? Like,
Yeah, exactly. So, you guys have been a band since '91, and you've been a Hudson Valley band pretty much that whole time.
Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had people from all over in the band. Like we started out, it was Christopher Marauder, who was from Brooklyn. You know, he and I started the band. And then we had Joe Branciforte, who was in Darkside, is also in the Carnivore AD band. So he played, and that's when we were practicing in Manhattan for a while. But other than that, yeah, Hudson Valley.
Cool. My questions are not going to be as good because I'm also hungover. So if you want to jump in at any point, you go for it.
I'm the least prepared for this.
We're probably the least hungover out of the four of us, I guess, right?
I don't feel hungover. I just feel exhausted.
I got a good night's sleep last night.
Do you guys still do you party as a band when you're on the road?
Some of us do.
Some of us,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't, but some of us do.
Okay.
You know, I guess 3 out of 5.
Yeah, sometimes 4.
Yeah,
It's a Meatloaf song.
Yeah,
I mean,
now I'm hungry.
you know, the last thing I want to do is wake up on the road hungover. I mean, I've outgrown that. Like, that's not my idea of a good time, sitting in a hot van, you know, hungover.
For sure.
Years ago, I was into it. Not so much anymore.
I find I don't really get hungover anymore.
Oh, I get the
Despite
opposite.
how much I drink, I feel pretty much okay.
I've reached a certain level of success.
I just feel exhausted.
Yeah.
Like, not hungover like headache hungover, or just hungover like I don't feel like doing anything.
Mm-hmm. This past Monday, I did have a headache all day, but I wouldn't really consider that hungover. I felt fine.
Yeah.
Just a persistent headache.
I think that's a form of hangover.
Sure. But, like, you know, I was functioning. I gave a presentation. Everything was fine. I had lunch.
Yeah, we're pretty tame on the road. It's
It's business on the road.
you know,
I wouldn't say it's business. I mean, we
No.
have a good time. We just, I mean, the drinking thing is not for me. So,
it gets harder, I think, like the older you get with, like I have trouble, like, I have to eat a little, you know, every couple of days I have to eat something good or, so I feel like the better you treat yourself on the road, the older you get, maybe makes it a little more easy, you know, makes you be able to focus on the show, the reason that you're there a little bit more.
Sure. I bring a lot of food. That's my move.
Well, I always say that I'm going to, but we never do. Even to the airport, eating $15 breakfast sandwiches at the
That's
airport.
what I usually
Oh,
do.
yeah.
You know, $15 angry sandwiches made by
We got,
angry people.
we got some angry sandwiches
found that-
last time.
When angry people make your food, it's sometimes better at the airport. I don't know why. Lately, angry people have been making good sandwiches.
You had that really angry lady at the
And she made a great
at the
sandwich.
deli, yeah.
It was awesome.
Which airport?
Was that Newark? I think it was Newark.
It was Newark.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember because they have such equally great food at Newark and JFK.
Yeah. It's better than the food I had in the airplane.
Is it sarcasm?
No,
Really?
it is not better than your least favorite meal that you've ever had in your life. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? I'm flattered that I was there for it.
My least favorite thing was vegan hamburgers in Finland.
Yep.
I'm still mad about that.
Yeah.
Because I was promised that they were going to be great and they were going to be the best thing I ever had.
I feel like you had a little bit of a
And I had to wait a
flashback.
long time for those.
Yeah,
And they were awful.
they were awful, and it was a double one
And
too.
I'm still mad.
Well, when we were in Quebec,
I'll never trust Theo again.
no.
He's our tour manager in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And he promised great hamburgers, vegan hamburgers.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't great.
Is it because you guys are vegan?
No.
Or just because he had them
No,
to
he just
offer?
told
open
us that
to
they were
it,
going to be great.
but,
I mean,
yeah.
I was definitely open to it. I'm open to anything, but they're not very good.
No, these were terrible. And then when we were just away, they tried to give you a vegan hamburger at the A&W place.
Yeah, I was
and
scared of it.
You had a little bit of a flashback.
No, I didn't want to eat it.
Well, you'll be relieved or terrified to know that as of this past Thursday, Burger King now offers the Impossible Burger.
Which I'm interested in trying.
I'm interested.
I would say it's worth trying. I was
That's
there
fair.
opening day as a hungry vegan,
5 a.m.
banging on the door. I also realized I was going to call and make sure they had it, and then I realized I was like, does anyone call Burger King ever? Like, is that a thing, or do they not even know they have a phone? And if I called, they'd be like, "Hello."
You'd be embarrassed to say where you were calling from if you were here.
So what's your take on the Impossible Burger as a vegan?
My take on it is I'm a fan of Impossible, the company, and the things that they make.
Okay. Because there's controversy surrounding these, right? Some vegans are not happy.
There's controversy with Burger King. We're never happy. Let's be real.
Not happy with the Impossible Burger specifically because of... So explain this, or maybe you can help enlighten me.
Maybe, which is going to speak to vegans as well. Which part of it are vegans not happy with?
Well, isn't it like I've read certain articles, like the way they're made? Is there controversy surrounding that? You know what I'm talking about? Like there's something in the practices that how they make them. There's an argument on whether they're vegan or not.
I haven't heard that. I did read a thing because, of course, I'm part of a vegan Facebook group for the Hudson Valley. JJ shaking his head, and they were talking about people were posting being excited for it, and people were like slamming it on all sides. And one person said the reason they were slamming it is because there's animal testing involved in Impossible.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Which I had never heard, but certainly could be the case. But
Like taste testing with animals? Like, because that's not that bad, right?
Well, I feel like that's weird either way. You're going to feed an animal, a fake animal.
How are you going to know if they like it or not?
You. Wait, is this their demographic? Like, we're making veggie burgers for, like, the zoo?
Are you testing it on them? Like, are you injecting them with something?
not
or
using
are
them
you
as a
taste
test
testing it
mark.
on them?
Like, they chain them down, you know, like in a
Force
cage.
them to eat them and then get their honest opinion about it?
2 roars for yes. I mean, now that you've actually said that, that could actually be like an actual usable application of it.
And I could be totally wrong with this, but there's something with the bacteria. There's some kind of bacteria. I don't know.
This I haven't heard.
When it first came out, I read some stuff, and I worked with some vegans, so we were talking about it. Mm-hmm. And some people supported it, some people didn't. I Googled some articles, and then I just got lost.
This is good. I will look it up. I know
this is all stuff that you need to be researching.
Yeah, for real. Well, this is even like something that I was talking about this week with my wife, who's also vegan. But I forwarded her an article that I read that was basically about how there's this new scene of like ex-vegan butchers opening butcher shops.
This is getting weirder and weirder.
An ex-vegan butcher?
Yeah, well, the whole idea is basically saying like,
I feel like you need to end that sentence with another X.
Or they used to be butchers.
No, they were vegan, and then they sort of
so
sort
they're
of,
not vegan butchers, because that would be.
They might be vegan still,
But they're butchers.
they're butchers, and the larger
Period.
thing is my sort of paraphrasing of the article
so they
is
don't
that like
eat animals, but they kill them.
yes.
That's a little weird.
Well, the idea is that being vegan in our current, right now, might not be as important and as, like, forming of actual change within, like, the food industry as people who actually, like, so they open these butcher shops where they source all their meat locally. They know where they're butchered, how they're butchered. They can actually control how the animals are treated. And
Well,
they
that's
know
a lot
that
better than mass factory farms.
right, exactly. And I think the sort of concept is like shifting away from like veganism as a concept and shifting more towards like how can we make actionable change in the food industry. And it's more effective to open a butcher shop and maybe charge a little more money, but to offer a product that doesn't come from these really fucked up farms, so that like instead of like boycotting and maybe eating a bunch of vegan bullshit that still gives money to those same companies, it's better to like say like, hey, like let's do a thing. Let's open a place where we can control it and we know that it's done way more ethically and we can actually like tangibly, you know, have a say in the process of how this meat is made.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that also would help, with the environment.
Yeah, yeah. My wife was not for this at all. She just says eating meat is gross. And I was like, well, that's where we differ.
Well, realistically, are you going to get a mass enlightenment with the majority of the world just stop eating meat?
look, we're lucky if we can get like 5% of people to not eat meat for one day of the week, you know. And we have I live in Beacon, and we have a butcher shop that I don't know if they are part of this movement, this sort of post-vegan butcher movement, but their idea. Sorry, these are all words
These terms that are just there. You just said post-vegan, and
I'm making it up as I go.
My head's
here.
exploding.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I respect it. It's a thing where I was like, I don't know if at this point in my life it's something I could do, consumption-wise, but I respect the line and the stance, and that they're trying to be proactive as opposed to sort of being reactionary. They're like, let's be proactive about it and try to actually do something that could make a change.
It seems like a more inclusive stance than, I remember when the vegan thing became popular, with the music, you'd go to the shows,
sure,
and there'd be the monitors set up with the kill factories and, the butcher, the horrible stuff on the TVs and the literature and stuff. So it's nice that they understand they're not going to change everybody, maybe try to make positive changes, even if it's not fully on board with...
Exactly.
Yeah. I learned a lot of stuff today.
So anyways, you guys just put out a new record.
Well, hold on, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
But I hear that the Impossible Burgers at Burger King are cooked on the same grill, no change.
So, pro tip, because I was there on opening day and did ask these questions as that guy, and I'm sure I was probably the 50th that guy to walk into that place and ask these questions. Pro tip, if you order it with no mayo, they'll cook it on a separate grill for you.
Because
you have to request...
You have to request it vegan. You have to request it no mayo, no cheese.
Okay.
And then they'll take your patty and they'll cook it on a separate grill.
I don't believe it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I've been to this. I go to this Burger King usually on Monday evenings to get an onion ring or something, right? Either before or after we do our live video. Mm-hmm. Carb up, keep the fat juices flowing,
Mm-hmm.
and the caliber of caring there is so fucking low that I just cannot see anything you actually want being happening.
Yes. Well, that's where trust comes in. Or
blind faith?
I was going to say more creating an illusion,
That's clear, yeah.
Convincing yourself.
Yes. Yeah, denial, maybe. A little bit of all those things in one thing.
I mean, let's face it, if you're walking into Burger King, there's got to be some kind of suspension of health consciousness.
With anything that you're buying.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's just
even if you're going in to get a soda.
the hypocrisy of
right.
the whole vegan thing with it.
My dad was a health
between vegan and Burger
inspector.
King.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, I knew all sorts of gross things that I'd rather not know. So I knew where not to eat. I heard all the stories that were actually real. So now I know as an adult, you're pretty much taking a gamble no matter where you go. So it's best not to think about it.
Yeah. I do that actively all the time. Usually once a week, the staff, we tend to order lunch together, except him. And once a week or so, we hit KFC on Main Street.
Oh.
And I know how disgusting it is in there because I'm usually the one that goes and picks it up. But I absolutely suspend my
Absolutely.
convictions for it.
Some of my favorite places were disgusting.
Yeah. I know I could just go through the drive-thru and not see it going on, but I get drive-thru anxiety.
Okay.
About places I don't go to the drive-thru very often, so that's one of the places I always walk in.
Is the anxiety that they're going to mess your order up, or
they always fucking it doesn't matter where you go.
Your voice is weird through the intercom.
No,
on the
it's
other
just
side?
I'm a product of a McDonald's childhood for sure.
Okay.
So that I feel very comfortable with. I can pull up and I know exactly what I want and it never changes.
Okay.
Whereas KFC, I don't necessarily order the same thing all the time, and so if I don't fully know the menu, I just feel like I need to go in and look at it with my eyes and not feel pressured as soon as I pull up to say words.
I got a little bit of that anxiety when we ordered at the A&W store with 5 people yelling in the.
Well, it was 2 o'clock in the morning.
There was also that, and there was a language barrier.
And there was one kid.
Right.
And all the lights were off. I don't even think that place was real.
No.
I don't even think that kid really worked there.
Yeah, these are not good signs.
All the lights were off except for the little kitchen part. Even the drive-thru, the lights were off. You couldn't even see what it was.
Yeah, there was like a paper sign on the window that said open 24 hours. But
Maybe he was
Nothing-
just,
yeah.
Maybe he was just making some extra money.
right.
Exactly. Yeah.
was
He made it
hustling.
quick, though,
He was
considering...
Yeah, because it was cardboard.
right. It was
Wasn't
made
real
out of
food.
cardboard.
It was terrible.
I went into a gas station in New Jersey once, kind of lost before the era of phones. Could tell you how to get anywhere. I just stopped in, figured this guy will be able to tell me how to get back to the highway. And I walk in, and there's just a guy sitting at like this green 1970s metal desk covered in cash. And there's someone else like fucking kicking the desk and screaming, and they both just stop when I walk in the door. And I'm like, you know how to get back to the thruway? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay.
No idea.
And I just left.
Good move.
In sometime in the 90s, we were in Cleveland, and the wheel fell off the U-Haul. Like, just fell off. Just roll. Were you with us then?
Yeah.
I've seen
So
this
the,
movie.
So the wheel falls off right in the middle of Cleveland. We have no wheels, so the next day we have to find a U-Haul place.
Oh, my
so
God.
we found this place that was also a convenience store that had one pack of gum.
It had, I
One
thought it
pack
had
of
the
gum,
big rack with the one bag of chips.
And then it had a rack with one bag of chips. That was it.
It's enough to qualify it as a store.
And that was like a convenience store / U-Haul rental.
/ I think something else was also
Oh,
going
something
on.
else, yeah.
Some other
So that was
business.
kind of my point. But yeah.
So how were the chips?
Stale.
From 1972. Wow.
I remember when the wheel bounced off that trailer, and I watched it, and the car behind us cleared it, and then the police came, and he tried to say that it hit his car.
Yeah, he tried to say that the wheel went under the car and blew out his transmission. And for years, he would call Eric, our bass player, this guy, trying to get money for his transmission.
Really?
The police, were just like, this didn't happen. Because just physics wouldn't allow it to happen, because the tire ended up like hundreds of yards away.
Oh, yeah.
So if it went under his car and crushed his transmission, it wouldn't keep rolling.
No, you'd be stuck under the fucking car.
Right. But
Yeah.
this guy claimed that it went under his car and somehow went on its side for a second, wrecked his transmission, and then popped up and went, right way and just kept rolling.
How did we get anywhere from there? We didn't move from there, right? Did we just unload it into the...
We were pretty close to the club anyway.
We dragged that trailer without a
I
wheel?
don't remember how. Again, another thing where I don't remember how, but I think we had it at the club, and then the next morning we just,
Went to the shady convenience store.
that's it.
Well, that saves me the question of asking for a crazy road story.
Oh,
Usually,
that's just one.
Yeah, usually
We've got
involving
some pretty good...
We've had the axle fall off in
Yep.
Texas.
Oh,
we,
yeah.
We toured in a minivan that
The
we had to
transmission went.
we had to tie the door open or closed with bungee cords.
Well, that was the air conditioning.
That was the air conditioning.
It was to keep it open so we could have
It was
air in
the
the middle of the summer.
Summer of '98. We were on tour with Buried Alive, and we toured in a minivan, and it was the hottest summer ever. We went in hotels in Texas where the pool was like 100 degrees.
Yeah. Kids were taking baths in the pool.
That was in Fort Lauderdale, but yeah.
That's right.
same like latitude.
Yeah.
Or longitude, whichever
Same
one is
reason.
the sideways one.
Same bizarre world.
Yeah.
I saw a lady just piss in the street in New Orleans
Wow.
at like 8 a.m. too. Not even,
Not even in the middle of the night.
I assume homeless, but didn't. Here's the confusing part. Have you been to New Orleans before?
Oh, yeah.
There's like around the quarter, there's like this sort of like French drains that run along the street. She just kind of hovered over it, but didn't pull her shorts down. So she was wearing like a yellow tank top and some sort of like very tight yellow shorts. Didn't drop anything, just sort of hovered, pissed, and it leaked out both sides and ran down her legs into the
Wow.
drain.
Huh.
I'm glad she chose yellow. I mean,
Yeah.
if nothing else.
In Japan, I saw a guy prop open a manhole and just shit in the hole. That was bizarre. So
That reminds me of Main Street up here.
Oh, God.
I
Oh, it
saw.
happens all the time on Main Street.
I was at our old store, and I'm just looking out the front window. And one afternoon, I was alone, and I don't know of what descent he was, but he was Asian, and he pulled up in like a Corolla, stopped right in front of the store, got out. He kind of hobbled a little bit, and he hobbled to the trunk, and he got out a bucket. And then he turned away from the street towards me in the store, unzipped his pants, pissed into the bucket, dumped the piss underneath his car, put the bucket and his dick back in his pants, then hobbled back to the car and drove away.
Wow.
What was the point of the bucket?
I think he had to go. I don't know. It's
But
like
why use the bucket?
to aim. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, I want that Impossible Burger. It's right next door.
It's
Is there a boy that could run and get that for us?
boy.
And
Round of Impossible Burgers. Chop chop. This is why we need an intern program. For this exact reason.
Right.
So I can call someone boy and clap at them.
I've always wanted a manservant.
See? There you go.
I would name him Maraschino.
Do you get to name your manservants?
I do.
Okay. Depends on how much you pay them, I guess.
Well,
Hey, for that much, you can call me Maraschino Cherry.
that's all. I'm really just in for the Maraschino. That's all.
Okay.
It's a great manservant
when we
name.
used to tour full time, I was kind of a manservant for a while. For a
To
guy,
the metal.
What's that? I worked for a guy that kind of ordered me around and had me do random chores, like house stuff, like painting, organizing stuff, like.
So this was like your in-between touring job?
Yeah, well, or just home for a week at a time kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Was it sexual?
No, nothing sexual.
So I feel like that's a scene of people
No.
who get people clean their houses
No.
and they. Okay, well that's
Maybe
that's
more errand boy might be appropriate.
What's a job that you've done while or in between touring to keep income coming?
I didn't do
I
anything.
Or
always
what's your
worked-
favorite?
My favorite? I don't think I had many favorite jobs back then. I always worked for, what do they call it?
The temp agencies, right?
Yeah, but the temp agency was actually called Manpower.
I worked for Manpower. I got fired from Manpower.
So how do you get fired from Manpower? Can't you just go to a different job? I went to showed up at jobs, didn't like the job, left the job, called them back up, give me a different job. I remember I sorted luggage at some store in the Middletown Galleria once. I worked at North Face in the Woodbury Commons. That job sucked. But earlier, before we toured, I was a janitor for years, and that's how I paid for college, and all those years counted towards retirement. So I lucked out. That was my favorite job. So great. Worked in school 3 to 11. They always let me take off for shows, so it was awesome. So Friday nights, if we had a gig, the principal of the school would let me come on Sunday, and it was a great job. Loved that job. That was my favorite job. Let's see. Any factory job that I had through the temp agency sucked. I remember in between the Turmoil tour and the Cro-Mags tour, I worked in some kind of they made those little party favors in Harriman. Oh, that was the worst job I ever had.
What kind of party favors?
What are those things that you blow into and they unravel?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, totally.
I packed them into boxes. It was terrible. Kids, stay in school. That was a terrible job.
I don't even think you could get that job here anymore. It seems like a strictly China job to me now.
Yeah, it was. It was so boring. The things would come. Well, I think that the unravelers.
They came from China, but they weren't packed.
They weren't packed. They would come off.
Bulk.
And they would come off, and then we'd individually put them in the things, and the machine would wrap them, and then they would put them on trucks. So I did that for a couple days. I mean, the best thing about back then was you were going back on the road again anyway, so if you could just suck it up. And then I liked to. One of my favorite jobs was corrupting straight edge kids in New Paltz. That was a lot of fun. I used to have and bands who shall remain nameless because I'm a nice guy. They used to always come and call me up and say, "Hey, we're coming through. Can we stay at your house or stay at your apartment?" I said, "Yeah, you can stay here." I said, "But you're not staying there alone, so I go and hang out in the bars all day because between tours and stuff. So you got to come with me." and some of those guys would stay for a couple days, and they'd be drinking within 2 days, and then don't tell anybody, like those stories. Those are always great with some of these bands. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So that was a professional corrupter. It was a good time.
It's a good title.
Yeah, it was good. It's good.
Looks good on a business card.
Yeah, I should do that part time.
Andy, what about you, man?
I did a lot of the temp agency stuff, a lot of like the delivering things to like hospitals and like packing boxes and bringing it to the emergency room. I don't know if I had any that I enjoyed. I did work at Subway for a while. Remember in Wappingers, I believe the owner put ads in like the paper and called it like the Hudson Valley's only rock and roll sandwich shop. And he would notoriously
Dave
hire
Baccio just
band
fucking
guys.
told me this story.
Yeah. Yeah, like Paul from Dissolve worked there. And he was really, I don't know, like he supported music in that way. He didn't like that kind of music, and I think he might have gone to a show once, but he was really cool with like letting you work there and pay you under the table and like let you work a day and then be gone, and you could kind of call from the road and let him know. But I remember like when we were touring full time, and we kind of all quit our jobs to do that in our 20s, and it was what I had always wanted to do, and like you feel pretty good that you're doing that. And then I remember you'd be working at Subway, and like the people that you had gone to school with, it's kind of hard to explain that you're a successful musician on tour all the time, and I'm also going to make your sandwich right now. So I think they were more humbling than being enjoyable, any of those kind of jobs.
Do you guys' families enjoy the music you do? Do they support you guys?
My wife was in a band, so like she totally understands it. So for me, it's just like normal life. You know what I'm saying? So my kids are into it. They don't know anything. Their mom plays in bands. I play in bands. So this to them is just like, because people always ask me, don't your kids find this weird? No, my kids find you weird. My kids don't know anything else.
Right.
This is what mom and dad have always done. So, I mean, my family loves it.
Yeah, I grew up in a family of musicians. My uncle's Neil Diamond's bass player.
Get the fuck
For
out
real,
of here.
for real. Yeah, Neil has to retire, but yeah, he did that for a long time. So my uncle's a drummer, my aunt's a singer, so I've always kind of been in a musical family. So it's they always wanted me to have a backup plan and be realistic about it, but it was always supported, even maybe the kind of music wasn't their favorite. But I've always had an easy time with they've accepted that I do it, and yeah, always got supported.
Cool.
I once worked as a silicone mold machine operator.
Wow.
What'd you make?
I made O-rings for NASA.
Okay.
So things you made went to space.
I don't know. I just made them.
In theory.
In theory,
things you
they
made
didn't
went to
always
space.
look like they were good enough, but I made them. But it was a horribly boring job because it was push a button every 2 minutes. Like, so you would stop. I would start it. You would push the button. It does its thing. It stops. You hit the release, and then like you peel off this hot fucking piece of silicone and put it on the bin. Spray. Do it again. And I also made windshield wipers. And there was another. So I always worked alone. It's this big factory, and I only ever ran one machine at a time. But there was this other room where I think the company actually made their money, because there was like 4 people in the room making these tiny brain shunts for surgery. And like that had to have been like the real part of the business, because I was just doing bullshit. And eventually they ran out of things for me to do, and they hadn't mowed their lawn in like a year. It was in like an industrial park, so the building, it was like 3 foot tall, like fucking brush basically. And they gave me a weed whacker. And I spent a whole week basically weed whacking a lawn, because no one had a lawnmower apparently to give me. And then I quit.
Because of that, or just?
I was 16, and it was probably the end of the summer or something anyway. And I was like, you know what? I've had enough. Paid really well though.
Well, you were making O-rings for NASA.
Yeah, and they paid me under the table.
And windshield wipers?
And windshield. No, they weren't for NASA.
Very different ends of the spectrum, really.
Yeah.
on
Well,
this
there
thing.
was this huge machine that made garbage cans, like silicone garbage cans.
For space.
For space, yeah. It was a space can. It's the sequel to Space Jam, actually.
Ugh.
They never let me make one, though. You?
I worked at a Halloween store.
One of those temporary ones?
That was
That sounds like a fun job.
honestly, it was a lot of fun. I just got to we just basically hung out, and I got to wear a costume and stand in the road and wave at people. Definitely, which maybe is me admitting a crime on the podcast, whatever. So
Not the first time.
I think it is the first time. Well, I'll go back to the tapes. I definitely saw. Let's just say I saw car accidents happen. Whether or not they were waving directly at me while not paying attention to the road is hearsay at best. But I definitely saw car accidents happen. At which point, my boss would always be like, "Okay, you need to come inside right now. You need to."
That's not your
be
fault.
in here.
No.
I mean, you might have been a distraction, but it's up to that fucking person to not be looking at you.
Yeah.
They don't have to look.
I was a really good Grim Reaper. I was really good. I could twirl my scythe really well.
Wow.
Yeah. It was one of those like 10-foot tall ones that's on your shoulders.
Now you're saying this.
If you were dressed as the Grim Reaper and somebody crashed and died, wouldn't you just be doing your job?
Exactly.
So, you're good.
Believe me, that irony was not lost on me when these things were happening.
So there you go.
I was looking for this new marketing ideas, and you never mentioned that you're a sign twirler. We can set up at the side of the road out here.
That's what I was. Did you do the thing like that the guys like stand outside like the big stores in the city can do? And
No, I mainly waved, and I had a scythe, and I would, like do things.
You're
and
like
try to-
that tax person that has to dress up as a Statue of Liberty in April.
Yeah, that's closer to what it was. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't really. It wasn't a very mobile costume. Like so.
no,
It was like you stood, and you could move your arms a little bit, but
the whole cloak part probably was
Right.
a little restricting. Yeah.
yeah.
And the bone-on-bone rubbing, No cartilage.
That was a different
Would you say you
tour job
invented
I
the
had.
twirl?
Negative. No, I am not as
Did you
talented as
perfect
those
it?
guys. The scythe twirl.
Yes.
No, I'm pretty sure they perfected that in like the 1300s.
Did you ever think of just being the guy from Sling Blade?
Can you be more specific?
They just sitting in like a rocking chair on the side of the road going, some people calls it a sling blade.
Thought about it.
All right.
Decided against it.
You're a little too hairy for a Billy Bob Thornton.
Thank you. So you guys put out a new record
Put out a new record.
this year. In fact, a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, in fact.
Yes, sir.
July 26th.
The record is called.
Crawl Among the Filth.
And tell us about that record. Tell us first. Tell us the PR stuff that you're supposed to say about it.
It's the most crushing record that we've put out to date.
Yes.
It's our most brutal.
Yes.
That's the company line, right? That's what every band says. It's
Boy,
like,
bring me a can to crush.
This is our most brutal release. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what we were supposed to say. But it's a good record. I like it.
It is a good record, and in fact, we sold a bunch in here.
Oh,
Like
that's good to hear.
it's done very well in here.
Yeah, I think on Street Day, we came really close to selling out first day.
Wow.
Like even before the evening, people were skipping work, I would say, to come get it.
That's good to hear. Yeah, it's been doing really well. For our, I think it's our 7th full length. So yeah, 7th full length. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Unbeaten has been doing a great job with the record. So it's much. He's given it a pretty good push, like a lot more push than we ever got from Victory. So, really happy with Buddy. So yeah.
Is this a new label for this record?
Right. Yeah, this is a new label. I've known Buddy for a long time. So I met Buddy at the Anthrax in Connecticut in 1989 at a Sheer Terror show. So I've been friends with Buddy, and since we've left Victory, we've been working exclusively with just friends. So, and that's how we're going to keep it, because it's so much better, especially for what we want to do at this point. Because I mean, our massive touring days are over. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot less pressure working with your friends. They know what to expect from us. We know what to expect from them. and it's been a great ride. The last 2 records we put out with our friend Clint, and then this record comes out on Unbeaten with Buddy, who is also in a band called Stigmata from Albany.
Where'd you guys record it?
You want to take that? John?
We did
John
record it with John. Yeah, I did forget. It's so long ago. It was in February.
I didn't want to hog the mic, so I figured I'd throw it over to you, but then you didn't even remember where we
You know all
recorded
this
it.
stuff off the top of your head. We recorded with John at Nada Studios. It's
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like we were like the last people that like really, always had heard about him but had never worked with him, and I had never met him. I knew a bunch of mutual friends, and yeah, we had a great time. Got in there in under 2 weeks and did like 8-hour days, and he was real good with our work schedules. Sometimes we'd come in after work. Lost power a couple times. It was snowing, which kind of added to like the black metal feel. And he's like in the middle of the woods, kind of separated from everything. We watched. What did we watch in there? The Until the Light Takes Us while we were and the movie about that.
We watched a lot of black metal documentaries.
Yeah.
For inspiration, for inspirato.
Definitely for inspiration. Yeah. Mike and
For
I.
me,
were,
it was just to kill the boredom.
Sure.
'Cause I don't do much. I just sit around and critique what they're doing, and that gets old after a while. I usually just kind of sit on a couch and eat pizza. So I was happy that they had like a TV there that I could watch, and it was a good time.
Cool.
Pizza and black metal, you can't beat it.
I mean, not wrong. So when you record, do you go in, or I would say, do you have like a ratio when you go in of like stuff that's already written? Like, do you show up with everything done and you just like cut it and print it, or do you kind of workshop things in the studio?
We've got everything written, and then we add things as we go. But everything's written. Like, we don't write in the studio. Like, I wish we had that kind of time. But we have everything written, and then we come up with ideas, and I think we like extend parts.
Yeah, we might
and
extend an outro if it came across good on the recording, or like fading stuff out and things like that. I think vocally though, you kind of
vocally this time actually the last 3 records vocally I've changed a lot of stuff, a lot of vocal patterns I've changed in the studio, and I've rewritten some stuff in the studio. So it's been a little bit of a different process on the last 3 records for me anyway, as far as how I do things, because before I always had everything set in stone. Especially when you're younger band, newer band. I mean, you've been playing these songs live. Where when you've been putting out records for a while, these songs are really new. Like your first couple of records, especially your first record, you've been playing those songs for a couple of years.
Sure.
So nothing's new. You just come in and do it. Now, as we go, the process is a little bit different. Plus, you get more comfortable in the studio. I think for me, I'm a lot more comfortable in the studio now than I've ever been before. I mean, through experience. Mm-hmm. So you probably had the same.
Yeah, absolutely. The more you do it, the easier it gets. You kind of know how ready you really have to be. We kind of seem to do best with, like if we say we're going to write an album and then we'll go book studio times, we'll have 3 songs for 12 months. What we kind of done in the last 2 records is we set a recording date, and you have to have, the ideas are coming, and we kind of know that we've, so the last couple of records we were working up right until like the week before.
Yeah.
Kind of putting songs together, yeah.
Yeah, you like set a deadline and then work to the deadline.
Yeah, I feel like we're...
Well, you get more comfortable with taking risks after a while, where especially like you get to be an established band, and it's just like you're not nervous anymore. It is what it is. You do this, and I mean, especially with the kind of band we are, because we just do this because we love doing it. There's no other reason. We're not trying to be popular.
Yeah.
We just do this because it's great. I mean, some guys play golf. I do this, like I don't know how to be like live like a normal life. So, music is what I do.
This is our poker night and our football night and our just hanging out with the guys and
whatever whatever regular people do.
What do regular people do?
They have hobbies. And,
What are you asking
Yeah.
him for?
Yeah.
I remember talking to Alan about that. Like, he still does the music thing, of course, and he's got a daughter and a wife and everything. And talking to him about like, oh, it'd be great if we could do, if you could go to more shows, and he really gets it that you're lucky if you can pick something from your before kids life and carry it over.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what we've done. I don't really have other other hobbies that I do regularly. This kind of satisfies it all. It's the creative thing. We all get along really well, so it also happens to be like the hanging out with the guys kind of thing. And
I think tying it back to the studio, that all goes back to willing to take risks, because this is our creative outlet,
You go to a lot of shows outside of being a band. You get to catch a lot of like.
I go to a lot of shows when All Out War doesn't have a lot of shows. Like if we have, like on the stretches where we don't have a lot going on, I go to, a lot of stuff. I find myself going to way more metal shows than hardcore shows at this point in my life. Like I like the vibe, So I go to a lot of metal shows. So again, it all depends on All Out War's schedule, because if All Out War's playing a lot, then I can't just be like, okay, kids, it's nice knowing you, but I know I've been gone for the last 3 weekends, but now I'm going to go see Behemoth, so see you later. So like last year, I think in the fall, I went to a lot of shows, but so far this year, we've been between recording and playing shows. We've been pretty busy. I haven't gone to as many shows this year as I would like to have.
yeah, there's shows that we talk about going to a lot that you'd love to go, but it's either play shows or go to shows sometimes. And
Sure.
I still like playing shows a little bit more than going to shows. So
Always, man. That's how I feel. Like when I go to see a band, I will often be like, fuck, that's all I want to be doing, is I want to be up there doing,
it
doing
feels
the other
weird
way,
saying that sometimes to people, like because it's not like a jealous kind of way, but it's
Correct.
It's more that like I'm envious that those guys are getting to do what I wish I was doing instead of watching.
I
Yeah.
make up for it by buying records. So I spend a ton of money on records. So
As we all do.
Yeah.
At this
I
table.
make up for not going to as many shows as I would like by buying records. So I support that way.
Sure. What's a record you picked up recently? Something new that you've enjoyed?
I love the new Dark Throne record. That record is fucking awesome. I love that record. That is a great record. What else have I been really listening to? I bought the new Dark Throne record. The new Abath record. I love that record also. Let's see. What else have I bought lately that I really like? I like the new Full of Hell record. I'm always buying something, so I'm just like... The Dark Throne record, though, is great. That record's phenomenal.
I really like that Full of Hell. I'm still trying to get that other Full of Hell that we can't ever seem to get, though. Trumpeting Ecstasy. I like that one a lot. I like that band, the guy that does our album artwork.
That Apes record is great.
That Apes record is phenomenal. It's a wall of sound. I think you'd like it a lot.
So people who are listening to this, Apes from Quebec. It's a great record.
And that's the guy who does all of your artwork currently?
Yeah, he did the last 3 records. The cover and all the
Alexandre
insides.
Goulet.
Yeah, great band. What else do we like that, we're pretty up on like the...
This year, Cult Leader record, I liked a lot. There's just been a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the Dark Throne record's a big one.
I think from last year, the tail end of last year, a record that doesn't get talked about as much as it should is that Terrorizer record. That record is great. Like, I'm surprised that record doesn't get talked about as much as, it should, because that's a fantastic record.
I bought that here.
Thank you.
Yeah. just randomly, just like remembering them from the early '90s, and they had like shared members or just kind of in the same. No, they had the guy who went on to be in Napalm Death, Jesse Pintato,
And the drummer for
Morbid Angel. Yeah, I like that on that last Unleashed album. I liked quite a bit. The Hunt for White Christ, I think, was the name of it.
That's a good one too.
I like that Mastiff band quite a bit. They're from the UK. We played with another Mastiff in California, and it wasn't them. They're
And
kind
got
of
very excited.
when I got to the show, and you realize like it doesn't
What's
look
the odds
like
of having two mastiffs?
yeah.
Oh, I did a tour. I think this was probably going back 2 years ago at this point, but it was a thing where we were playing with this band that had the same name as another band we had played with previously, and I thought it was them, but they were one letter different.
Oh.
Like they had two R's instead of one R in their name. And then when we got there, I was like, oh, I'm the idiot. Sorry. Totally thought you were someone else. We're still cool. We're good. Like, let's go. We're cool.
Yeah, I thought that was I thought that was the band that it was like the last show on that California run that we did, and the whole tour I'm holding off on like ordering the record because I'm going to see them, and then I see the guys, and I remember seeing pictures of them. They're like older, kind of crusty looking guys from England, and like the band from California was kind of like a hardcore, had like the shorts on and like it was like it'd be an amazing style change, but I don't know. I think like that album just came out, and sure enough, it wasn't them.
I mean, speaking of that California run we did, the band Funeral Chic, they blew me away. They were a great band. I picked up their record when we were out there, so that's another one that I really liked. I'm pretty sure that record came out this year.
Yeah, that record's great. Cool. That last Integrity is really good. That's more than a year old though. Yeah, that's like almost 2.5 years old.
The 2017, I think 2017 was a great year for releases. A lot of things came out that year.
When did that Behemoth album's more than a year old? Right?
That was last year.
It did take like eight months for the vinyl to come out, and I held off on not listening to it. I wouldn't, I had the pre-order from Poland. It was like $50. I'm not listening to the download of that before I get my physical copy. We waited a long time for that.
Yeah, I'm not like a download guy. I need to buy the record,
So is that how you listen to music, like when you're at home, or
absolutely
is mostly just
Exclusively
on vinyl?
Exclusively vinyl.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. What's your turntable? What's your setup?
Now you're asking. I don't know. I'm not one of those kind of guys.
You have
Sounds
a good turntable.
Yeah, I do. But Michelle buys all that stuff. She's the tech person. I just listen.
Got these crazy you still have those kind of small, really heavy speakers.
Those are Michelle speakers. They're great.
It's the stuff that you wish that your parents didn't.
They're like this big. They're like this big, and they weigh like 30 pounds. They're like heavy as hell, but they sound great.
Yeah, I still have. I have to up. I mean, we've talked about me upgrading to that, whatever the next Audio Technica is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I actually have. I was tired of bringing the record player up and downstairs, so I bought another one for downstairs. My living room doesn't have a TV in it. It's focused around like the record stand. Got kind of like the high ceiling, so it sounds fantastic in there. And again, you remember when I was going through that, I was in here troubleshooting stuff and trying to figure out all the way back from starting with like the little Crosley.
Yeah,
grew out of that kind of quick, and yeah, there's I don't know. There's some. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, but there's obviously something. There's something about vinyl. I mean, it's more than just when I got into records, I remember saving up your money and going and getting something, and maybe walking to the mall to get it and carrying it home and laying it out, and even if it didn't hit you immediately, like really looking, like really playing that to death and finding the treasures on there. And I like the large format of, I like the artwork and the lyric sheet being big, so it's an easy sell for me. Like it never really appealed to me. Like I like the collectability of it, but we play our records.
I was so bummed out when like vinyl went out of style for a little while, because I like I said, I never got the downloading thing. Like I love going to record stores and just flipping through. And I still find music that way. Like, obviously I'll know what I'm looking for, but I always end up buying something else, and just giving it a shot. And that's still my favorite thing to do. And I don't try to sell back anything either. Like, once I got it, And I mean, I don't know. I love vinyl. Always remember what it was like as a kid putting on those records. Like, I always tell this story about Venom. Like, the first time I put on like the Venom record, the black metal record, and first song, I believe it's black metal. It's okay. It's cool. Good song. Love it. So I'm like 14 years old, and then I put on what next song comes on, but then I think the third song is Buried Alive, and that song comes on, and I don't know if you're familiar with that song or not, but it's got like just this crazy preacher talking, and at that moment you feel like you're letting something into your room that shouldn't be there, and that feeling is why I love fucking metal and I love buying records, because I'll always remember that feeling, and it was creepy, but it was awesome, So
yeah, I had that with Slayer, Hell Awaits. I heard all the first Slayer albums I had on vinyl, and yeah, more than just like the lore, like the warmth of the sound or whatever, whatever that intangible quality is that.
And it's not just the sound, it's the total package.
Yeah.
I'm always bummed out when I like open a record and it's just like nothing to it. I'm like, oh man.
We talk about that. We talk about like bands where they do missed opportunities. When you see like an album cover, you're like, oh, they totally could have done something that ties into the record, or like a colored press that is the colors on the album or something. And War's like, oh, missed opportunity.
Yep. Yeah, it's all part of it. I like to think that the band thought about all of that stuff. I mean, I know that we think of that. I like the breakup between the sides, that you're thinking about how to, that there's it's not just 10 songs in a row, like that fifth song or whatever. You're thinking about how to like start off the second side. My favorite. I still remember how Master of you had Leper Messiah on the second side. Like, it was a big second side first song. Like, obviously thought out like that, to have something like a little different starting it out.
That's actually my comment on the new Torch record, who I love that band.
Yeah,
they have a new album, Admission, that also just came out. And I really like the new record, but the thing that for whatever reason like irks me or like gets me is the first track on side B. So I was like, I wish you guys could have bumped this to the end of side A and started with the next one, or like tweaked it, because just for whatever reason that specific song starting off side B, like every time, like as soon as it comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, I wish they had started with something else.
Yeah. We did that with
as the person that thinks of the order, I can tell you this: I put so much time in it.
Yeah.
And then I regret it when the record comes out, because I'm always like, fuck, man, why'd I do that? I should have put this one here. Like, you can never get it right. Like, I always regret it. I regret every record that we've ever done. Like, as far as like how I arranged it. I'm always looking back and I'm like, oh man. And then I blame these guys, because I'm like, why'd they let me do that? Well, probably because I'm a dick and hard to work with. But
look, this it's a new world right now in terms of like the music industry. And Kendrick Lamar, his last record, Damn, he put it out, and then somewhat very shortly after he put it out a special edition of it, which was the same thing, reverse track order.
Wow!
Because of something
that's what I'm
like
do with every All Out War record.
So you should do
pull them all and put them all up back out.
You should do like a like a whatever reissue.
I'm still beating myself up over the first record, and that record came out in '97.
Do it. Change up the order, reissue it, and be like, this is the 2017 or 2019 mix or whatever you want to call it.
God, that must be so expensive to have to redo all the artwork. I mean, it's not just.
Oh, it had completely different artwork. It was a whole second thing.
Wow.
Which I feel like he had to have it in the works. Like, I want to say it came out something on the internet, like a
Reddit
thing.
Yeah.
Like somebody suggested that it was better, so he said, "All right," and he actually did it. He just put it out.
It's dedication.
Yeah, and a good budget.
Yeah.
Very healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably working on a slightly
Different scale than us. Yeah. Well, so when you tour, do you stop at record stores? Do you go to indie stores?
Absolutely.
I look them up. Like, it's great now because in the old days you'd have to like ask somebody. Now you just look on your phone. Sometimes I hit it, and sometimes I don't.
What's a store you like? What's a store maybe that you went to recently that you enjoyed?
I like the Knockout
Knockout was
store
great.
in Quebec.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great record store. So that was one from just last weekend. I mean, that was a great find. You know, actually, I asked Alexandre about that one, and then I just kind of then I searched and I couldn't find anything better. What I'm disappointed about though is when we were in Montreal, we didn't find out until after we were done playing, which was like 11:30 at night. And the guy said, "Oh, there's some great shops," and he gave me like a list. But we had to be in Quebec, so it was like we couldn't stay, and we already had the hotel out of town, so that sucked. Like that, and I mean, I don't want to say anything about like any ones that I was disappointed in, but yeah, sometimes you get duds. Like sometimes
You go way
sometimes
out of your
like
way
the
and there's 8
presentation
records.
online is awesome. Like you're looking at it and you're just like, this is gonna be great, and then you get there and you're like, wait a second, I have more records than this.
Yeah, that one picture was the whole store.
Yeah.
Well, there are a whole like different like schools of
Here's
record stores.
The record stores that I really hate going to, though, the ones that have like stuff on the wall, but they're not selling any of it.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
what's the point then? Why
Right.
have them on the wall? You're teasing everybody.
Just flexing,
Like I want
that's
the
all.
record.
Right.
Well, I'm not. That's just my personal. Why do you?
It should be at your
It should be at
house.
your house, not here. like I remember this one record store I went to. Everything I was looking for was up on the wall. I
Yeah.
would have paid. I would have paid big bucks, but he was just no, not selling it. Then why is it here, dude? This is the only reason I came here because I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
You didn't put online. I'm not selling these records. Otherwise, I wouldn't have went.
I went to a store somewhat recently that was I saw it because they had posted a record that they had gotten in that I was really interested in, and then I found out after getting there that their storefront is not that much bigger than the space we're sitting in, and apparently they just keep a whole bunch of their inventory just in a back room, and it's kind of a thing where you can like go on their Discogs and you can say, hey, can I have this, and they'll just like go get it for you. So they do a thing where they put a small amount like that's shoppable.
Okay.
But I guess their main business is like online, so that's
Yeah.
where they focus on that.
Well, that is what I think this one that we're talking about.
Right.
was. It was more
There was
like
something
that.
else going on in the back. Either more
No,
records
I think it was the Discog thing. I think most of the stuff was mail order.
Did you go to Paul's Boutique Records
No.
when you were there?
No.
You
You should have asked you guys before.
When you're in Montreal, go to a record store called Paul's Boutique. It's in like a yellow house. Looks like just like a house. But they have a back room. So, they have like a shoppable front room. And you can go into a back room, which is like double the size of the front room. And there is a wrestling ring where they are just streaming their internet radio station. And they have all this stuff. And then you go around another little corner and they have a giant arcade that is all
Wow.
vintage arcade machines. But it's kind of like a thing where, I don't know if they, if they're trying to downplay those things, so to speak. I think you could just go in at any time and look at them. But it was like we went in when traveling there, and they, like turn the lights on in the back room, and then when you want to go play the machines, they just turn all the machines on, and you
Oh,
can
wow.
play these
It's
vintage
too
games.
bad we're not going to Montreal on that Integrity run because we're just doing Quebec.
Just Quebec, yeah.
So
Wow.
fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, we try to... We've been pretty good with trying to, like, even if it takes us a little bit out of the way, look for the record stores.
Sure.
Makes passing the time in between the shows.
Yeah. Ironically, I'm in a band, and like we press our own records, and we we put our last one on a label, but where I'm the guy in the band who's into physical music, and the other two guys in my band are not.
Yeah.
Or the three other guys in my band are not into physical music. They mainly do like streaming. I guess they mainly do streaming is really what it is.
That's
And,
our band too.
Yeah, that's Mike and I are pretty much. I mean, Jesse is a little bit. Jesse bought a bunch of cassette tapes at the
Yeah.
in Quebec, but Taris lives in the city, so he buys vinyl every once in a while, but he's super selective. And I don't know if Eric. I think Eric's just. He used to work for what, Caroline
We worked
Distro.
for Caroline, yeah.
So I think after CDs, he just kind of listens to like
Sure.
the digital music.
Well, it's like even, the new Tool record that's coming out. Like, that is a band that truthfully, and this is just totally my opinion on this thing, is I think they just don't really care about vinyl. I think that they're like...
Yeah, no vinyl
tech
release for that.
nerds.
You're buying you have to buy the television from them, right?
Correct.
You have to buy I told you about that. You
the
have to buy
tiny TV.
The $45 television that comes with their album.
I've got insight into this.
Ooh!
I want to see what it looks like.
Me too.
Me too.
I want to come over somebody's house and watch it.
I can tell you that this is the downscaled version of what they wanted to put out.
They wanted to put out like a 55-inch television that only showed their video on it.
That'll be the vinyl edition. It'll be 15 inches wide.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I was told directly from label that the original version was just impossible to mass produce.
I saw
Podcast
something
first.
weird that the CD has less content than the digital.
Well,
like 10 minutes less.
That's true because the CD maxes out at 80 minutes.
The format itself.
Yes.
Is the CD.
Okay.
Right.
And the album is like 91 minutes or something like that. So
Hmm.
rather than do a double disc, you're getting everything on the digital, and I think there's a download. Then I don't know how they square the two between the CD, if they just drop a track or what, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
that's weird. Yeah, no vinyl at release too.
Well, you can come. We are doing a midnight release. This
I
is a
saw
weird
that.
ad. This is like a long build up to this ad for this Tool record.
Yeah.
But we are doing a midnight release, and when we have them, I will probably open one up. We'll probably play it, so you can come and physically see it.
There's supposed to be an unboxing video soon
Wow.
by Tool themselves. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
We'll see.
intrigued to see what it looks like.
Me too.
Okay. Well, so and for you guys' new record that you put out, so you did do a vinyl press, and
Yeah.
I think I saw that there was like a limited edition cool press as well.
There is the black that went to retail. Then there was gold and black that was on the web store for Unbeaten. And then we have orange cloudy clear. So we have that. The black and gold sold out. So they had, just to hold the fort until the new colors come out, they did put up a limited amount of the orange and cloudy on their website. I'm talking about Unbeaten. And once that's gone, then that'll be gone soon because it's actually doing surprisingly well. So that'll be gone hopefully, within the next couple of days. And then there's going to be blood splattered clear and purple will come out.
Cool.
And that'll be out.
Available to retail.
Well, it could be available to some retail.
Cool. And did I see one that was like a silk screen cover, like a super
That
limited
was the
thing?
limited edition for This Is Hardcore. Well, actually, there were two. There was the first 100 sold was the dove being strangled by the snake. That was on the Unbeaten site, and then there was a demonic pentagram image that was for This Is Hardcore. Those are all gone.
And-
All of that stuff's gone.
And was that the same artist who did
Yeah.
the full art for it?
Yep.
Cool.
I didn't even see that dove one.
Yeah,
The pre-order
You can
one.
also see the logo. It's the new logo for the vegan butcher shop in Beacon.
I thought it was a cow strangling a dove.
Well,
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I
either.
haven't
In
seen it.
real life, I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
Pictures look cool. I wasn't one of the first 100.
Yeah, I couldn't cut the line, yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming tour dates? Any upcoming shows you guys are excited about?
We're doing a string with I Hate God coming up
Cool.
in September. And then I guess I can't announce until the official announcement. But we're doing another. It's so funny, like how everything works in today's, like everything's like has a business model, which is always like funny to me. Like, it's always funny how, well, first you release one song, then you wait a couple weeks, then you release another song, then you wait a couple more weeks, and then you release the whole album. Which that whole thing is always weird, and that's part of the whole model with releasing a record. The same thing with shows now. Well, you got to wait until this, and you can't announce this until that gets announced, and you got to hold off. Yeah, and then it all leaks anyway. So what? I don't even understand what the big deal is. It's not like more or less people are going to go.
Any local shows?
Local shows, November 8th with Nile and Terrorizer at the Chance.
Oh, cool.
So we have that.
Oh, and you did your record release show at the Chance.
Yeah, record release
That
show.
last
week.
A lot of fun. Yeah, with Internal Bleeding and In Cold Blood and Outer Heaven. Trying to remember. Sick Bay. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Good time.
it was great. And a bunch of out-of-the-area bands come.
And
Outer Heaven was great. I mean, all the bands were great, but Outer Heaven, they impressed me. They're on Relapse. They came up. Well, they're from Philly, the Philly area, around that area.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we got a lot of stuff that's going to be announced. But the I Hate God stuff, that's coming up first week of September.
cool.
We have what's the Maryland one? Frederick?
With Prong and Agnostic Front. It's in October. I mean, we were kind of scattered because, like we said before, we can't do tours, so we do clumps.
Sure.
Little clumps here and there, and we try to stick to the 4-day weekends and things like that, and we do a lot of fly-in shows, fly out to the West Coast and we'll do a run and come back. I mean, it's hard for us to work our way out there. Actually, it's impossible for us to do that. I mean, you just can't take off of work and look at it. This is just purely done for the love of doing it.
Sure.
It's not, we're not trying to make money. We're not trying to, do anything other than have a creative outlet and hold on to what we love to do for as long as we can do it.
Sure.
And we're really fortunate in that way that we've been able to do this for so long.
I think that yields often, great results. And we even before we started this podcast, we were chatting a little bit about the band Daughters. And about them kind of coming back together and putting out what was a great record from a band that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Or enjoyed anyway, but I felt was really successful, maybe surprisingly
successful. Yeah. And they kind of we were talking about them doing it on their own terms too, with kind of finally being in a place where they can say we're only going to do the weekends or the long weekends. That's what we can do, and all those. I think so many of those shows are still sold out. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna pitch a show idea that we should do, but we got to get some local guys involved.
All right.
But we did a show many, let's say a decade ago.
10 years, yeah.
That was it was called Glacial Fest.
Yep.
And that show 10 years ago, if my memory serves me correctly, was Daughters headlined or played. The number 12 looks like you played.
Yep.
You were in the band Nerve Gas Tragedy who played. And my old Five-Headed Elephant band played.
Yes.
But I was like, we should rebuild this show. We should do a Glacial Fest 2020 and get all these bands who, we were there 10 years ago. Let's do it, as with what we're doing now.
I'm into it.
Get Daughters to headline and do their current Daughters thing, which is great. And number 12 is putting out a new record very shortly. Let's get them on it.
Yeah.
And everyone else who I don't remember.
Yes. Maybe we could get back in the Keneen Hackett Center. I don't know what's going on there.
See? Exactly.
An art space now again?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
Haven't been in there in 10
neither.
years.
Yeah.
So I was in there one time.
It's really sad the Hudson Valley doesn't have a lot of places to play really.
Yeah.
Anymore. I mean, in the 90s there was a million places to play and not so much anymore.
Yeah.
Do you consider New York City your home base, let's say, quote unquote, for shows?
I don't think we really consider anywhere our home base anymore. I mean, we just play where people will have us. We play the city a lot less than we used to. There was a time where we played the city a lot more than we played up here. But now, because we try to spread it out as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We try to, do Philadelphia and then hold off on Philadelphia. Then, play do the Canadian run and then hold off on Canada for a while. And just in November we'll be back in Boston. We haven't been there for a long time, so we try to keep it like that.
Anything rare in the vaults?
Like personal collection vaults?
No. Like in the All Out War vaults.
Well, we have the track that Decibel put out on their Flexi series that we want to put on something else, because the deal with that was Decibel would have it for a year, and then, so it's been over a year. So we have that, and we have, so I'm interested in doing something with that track, and then some other stuff.
We were talking about
we're
trying
actually
to do a 10-inch for a record store day.
Don't do a 10-inch.
No?
No, 10 inches suck.
Over a 7-inch?
Yeah.
We're talking about records, right?
Yes.
Okay.
7 inches, help my memory, 5 minutes aside, right?
Something like that, yeah.
We do something.
10 inches are harder to sell. That's from our perspective.
Okay.
They're
Well,
cool.
that-
I own a lot of them.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they're
that's
harder to
why
sell.
this record, Dying Gods, was actually supposed to be a 10-inch, and then Clint from Organized Crime decided that it wouldn't.
Nope.
So that's why
It would
it's
fucking kill sales.
because
Plus,
that's actually an EP. So it has.
just let it breathe,
Yeah.
Leave the inner stuff there and just, because it all sounds better on the outer tracks
Okay.
from a technical perspective.
Right.
Yeah. Sonically.
Harder to, because as you get that spiraling towards the center, it's harder to cut that groove accurately. So there's more distortion and shit that goes into it.
There's 7 songs on that. Yeah, 7 songs. There's.
Exactly. If you count the intro, we have 7, yeah.
Yeah, 7 songs. But yeah, you're right. That's where that came from. That's why that's a 12-inch instead of a 10-inch.
We've been writing pretty quick, short new songs.
Yeah, the
so we can
new
kinda
album,
squeeze
the
them into
songs
the
are a lot
set.
shorter than usual because we just kind of trimmed the fat with it. Just kind of went for the throat a little bit more. Like the songs on Give Us Extinction, there's some long songs on there. The new album doesn't have. I mean, most of them are right around that 2-minute mark. We got one longer song that doesn't really have to be a longer song. It just is. That song was a great example of something that got longer in the studio.
Yeah.
Because when we wrote it, it was right around the 3-minute mark, and in the studio we were like, oh, let's add something here and add something there, and the vocal part made it longer.
Right. Yeah, we turned the intro into more of a part, and it. So we did kind of write that one on the studio a little
But
bit
even
more.
for the record store day, we could do, 2 short songs and a longer cover for the other side.
Paradise by the Dashboard Lights.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, when Ellen was here, we were talking with him about doing partnering and doing a Live at Darkside series.
Yeah.
And just getting some bands.
That's
and-
what he was talking to me about.
Right. I'm sure he did that as well.
Like the Peel sessions back in the day.
Yeah.
Remember
Right,
that?
man, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of those now. A lot of record stores are doing it, and they're putting them out for Record Store Day and, the Record Store Day adjacent days, which I guess is just Black Friday, now that I've made a long-winded version of saying Black Friday.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into it, totally. Well, glad to see that the record's moving here, so that's good.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
I-
thanks for putting the picture up on the. I know there's
yeah,
like
that
a
was
limited
cool.
amount of spaces on the actual graphic.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
when
yeah.
the new album comes out, there's like 4 or so, and
Yeah, I think 6 total spaces, maybe.
I just do a grid online, which would
Right.
be 8.
okay.
But there was no way in hell that I'm not going to feature a Hudson Valley
Yeah,
band
man.
that is putting out something and going for it. There's no way I'm not
Well,
going to
we
support
appreciate
that.
it. It was
either way.
I wake up, every Tuesday for the used stuff, and the Friday to get the email with all the new stuff. So it was awesome seeing it, and you guys had it on the big TV
Yeah, man.
when the ads came out, and then you put it up with
Right on the front end cap and
yeah,
you walk in the
it
door.
was super cool to see, man. Like kids, like Dave and stuff coming
Yeah,
in.
no
and taking
shit.
pictures
Multiple
of it,
people
and-
called and was like, "Hey, you got that All Out War
Yeah.
record? Can you
It
put it
was nuts.
aside?"
People were sending us pictures of it when we were on our way to This Is Hardcore, and we hadn't seen. I hadn't held a physical copy of it yet. So it was
Yeah,
awesome.
because
man.
the record was in stores before we saw
before
it.
I had my hands on it. Yeah,
Because we didn't get it until we got to Philly.
yeah. We got a test press,
Right.
just on black with, just in like the plain sleeve. The first time I ever got one of those before we recorded. Usually like these last two, I got years and years later.
Oh, the test press. Yeah.
Probably after they realized that they could sell them and
Right.
Right. Now they just cranked out a couple more.
That's crazy. The people like asking about like getting the test presses for that. Like, see, like I don't know about
Well,
you.
people
Like,
make covers now for the test.
yeah,
presses.
but somebody like me, like I rather have the whole thing when it comes out. I get like the the finite amount that are made, but I want
was
the
never
whole
a test press guy.
Yeah.
Depends on the era. It's like way back. There's
Yeah.
some pretty cool fucking test presses.
Yeah.
Like this is my coolest test press. I have a first, like I guess obviously it's first test press. It's a Clash London Calling test pressing from the UK.
wow.
That's different.
That's pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
one of the rarest records I have in my collection.
Wow. I don't have a lot of rare stuff. Like a lot of I don't like the stuff that I'm looking for is like hard to get now maybe, but
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of stuff
I used to have a lot of rare stuff, and then when I first got married, we were living in Beacon, and we were looking to buy a house, and my wife
For your
and
paper
I-
anniversary?
Yeah. And my wife and I sold our record collection, and I've been actively rebuilding it ever since. I mean, don't get me wrong, we made a killing off of it. It was nice to have the money, but at the same time, I regret it almost daily. Like, just thinking about, wow, I can't believe we sold those records.
Yeah. Yeah, it hurts when you see like them expensive up on the wall in the case. I'm like, oh god, I remember buying that for $6. I
Well,
remember buying Tragic Serenades
well,
for $5.
It's funny because now when I was selling the records, I was so like, I can't believe it. These people are going to buy this record for this much money. And now I'm on the opposite end where I'm bidding on records and I'm just like, you fucking bastard. What the fuck? Why would you spend all that money for that record? And I'm thinking, yeah, just like 10 years ago, I was loving people spending all this money on these records. And now I'm cursing them, wishing death upon them. Like, I always, like, I lose like every auction I lose. Oh, well.
Well, we've got this great Tuesday video that we do that is right up your alley, my friend.
Yeah.
Because we put all of our used stuff out on Tuesdays, and so we do a video where we highlight the cool shit that comes out on Tuesdays, and we put out a list before we even put it out in the rack. So you can comb through the list, call dibs on things.
You can call dibs on
Oh yeah,
it.
you can call
dibs.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
So if you get the email, if you sign up for our email list, you can respond and say, hold,
I'm on the
this,
email
this,
list.
and
I just didn't know that I could do dibs.
oh yeah.
It's like pre-ordering records here. Like every time, like if you call and like you guys are like, yeah, I can hold that for you. I'm always like, and I know that you're going to do it. And it's like with the pre-orders too. Like I'll come in and pre-order a record, and I'll talk to you about it. And either of you guys will just be like,
You should
yeah,
talk to me.
I got you down for it. And then you'll walk and you'll think like,
He's easily distracted.
is he really? But you've always come through. Like I've never missed anything. And then you get the call from the weird phone number. Like you reluctantly want to answer, and it's usually Tyler.
Yep.
It's like getting
Tyler does
something
most of
cool
the calls.
in the mail. Like pick it up and you don't recognize the voice, and it's your such and such record is in. Man, that's
Just save the number.
yeah.
Just save it in the phone, man.
It makes it so exciting. Like that it's not like somebody from like Central Hudson or something. Like
Every time I get like a number I don't recognize and I answer it, it's
Telemark?
Microsoft telling me that I bought something from Microsoft and they'll gladly reimburse my money if I send them my bank account.
oh, you just send them your social security.
Like I get that phone call all the time.
We get those a lot. Those are some of my favorites, actually.
Yeah.
They tell us that our Windows is broken. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, we use Mac computers.
That's great.
I take it as far as I can. One
Oh,
time
yeah.
the guy called me a motherfucker.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like that's good.
It was
That's
pretty good, yeah.
They got really mad at me because I started calling them back. And I just called them back, and I would tell them, 5 minutes, calling you back. And I just call him, and he called me a motherfucker,
Yeah.
too, so that might be their go-to.
Yeah, he's
There
like,
must be something
You
in
were a
there, like,
motherfucker, and he hung up on me.
Wow.
It's on the call sheet.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
It's a checkbox.
Right at the bottom.
if
That's the last
sarcasm
thing.
detected.
Just say motherfucker.
Gary had 3 motherfuckers today, so good job, Gary.
No, I feel like it's a penalization right there.
I did actually post the number online, and I was going to have everybody on my social media feeds call it, but then my wife got nervous and made me take it down. I don't know what she thought they were going to do, but she was like, don't do that.
Cut off your windows, man.
That's it. Yeah. Well, you guys, thank you for being here for
Thanks
this
for having
podcast.
us.
Thanks for having us.
So, new record out now. You can get it in indie stores like yours truly. You can get it from the band directly at shows.
Yep.
Where can people find you?
Well, they can find us easily on Facebook.
Yep.
They could find us on Instagram. Sometimes I look at Twitter. Not much. Let's see. And then unbeaten.merchnow.com. You can order it directly from them.
Well, we like to do something here that we do for all of our guests
He likes to do something.
at the end of our podcast, and it's called the Darkside Podcast Lightning Round. Or, as I prefer to say it, of course, the Darkside Records Lightning Round. There'll be special effects. I'll put it in post. It'll sound way stupider. This is, of course, where we just rapid fire ask you a bunch of questions, and you just tell us first thing that comes to your mind.
Got it.
Ready?
Okay, I don't ever prepare for this. So
That's part of the game. First question. Fuck, marry, kill. All, out, or war?
I don't even understand that.
question.
Fuck, marry, kill. All, out, or war?
Do I have to say fuck, marry, or kill for each of the all-out war words?
yes, I think that's what he's getting at.
My head's going to explode.
Like marry all, fuck war.
What was the other one? Kill? Oh, kill all. Fuck out. And what was the other one?
You're
Murder,
marrying
war.
war now.
What was the third one?
I think you would, fuck war in like a negative way, like
Right.
fuck war, not
Right,
war.
fuck
not a
war.
sexual way.
What would you
Marry
do?
out because
Marry
it's
out.
just, and then what's the
All.
kill all?
Kill all.
Kill
There you
all.
go.
So,
That
yeah,
works.
okay.
Definitely kill all. So I was right with that one.
All right, not much lightning involved there.
Okay.
Of the two fruits, tomato or cucumber?
Cucumber.
Tomato.
This is how the band works. It's a yin and yang thing.
That's why we get along.
Tell me what you want. What you really, really want.
I want you to be my lover. You don't know that song? It's worse that John knows a Spice Girls song.
It's if you want to be my lover.
It's if. See, you.
You got to get with my friends.
Okay, you got it.
Worst all-out war record.
Worst all-out war record: Assassin's Now, Scott.
I guess I would have to agree with that.
I didn't expect a consensus on that. Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
assume that's actually I would expect a consensus. I feel like usually people go, yeah, okay,
We just accept our shit.
yeah. It's like you own it and you move forward.
Okay. And final question.
Yeah, fuck.
What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me.
Correct.
There you go.
These are now right or wrong answers now.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I thought I'd get the look again.
You just got to be quick. That's
Yeah.
lightning round. You got to just jump in.
Well,
When you
no,
know
I
it.
gave you a look because I didn't understand. Like I didn't know.
You don't remember the Spice Girls?
And I didn't know.
We all
like,
try to block it out a little bit, you know.
Favorite Philip Seymour Hoffman performance?
Capote.
Twister.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
I would have said The Cell.
But how could you forget Brandt in The Big Lebowski?
That's good
I
too.
forgot that one. That's a good one.
That's the creepiest one.
Or Silent Goshen, New York?
Silent Goshen, New York?
Silent Goshen, Secret Snake.
Okay. See what you did there.
Vegan Butcher.
Okay. All right, well, you've survived the lightning round. Well done,
All right,
gentlemen.
thank
Thank you for being here. If you're listening to this, you probably already know who All Out War is. But if you don't, go check them out. Go pick up their new record.
Come pick up their new record.
And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, head on over to wherever you get your podcasts. Let's say, the Apple Podcast app. Leave us a review. Leave us some stars. I don't want to tell you how many stars to leave, but let's say 83. And every time you leave us a review and say something nice, it helps us get seen by new listeners. Seen.
And if you say something mean, it drowns a kitten.
At the Vegan Butchers.
It makes JB drown a kitten,
Oh.
which is destroying his marriage. Because he has to do it at home.
Oh. I did lose a bet and eat a locust a couple years ago at a job. live on Facebook.
Wow.
I remember that actually.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Was the Locust live?
The Locust was near death.
Well,
He was already dying.
Yes. But I think it was. Well, anyway,
we
we'll
all?
talk about this later. Okay. So thanks for listening. As always, thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I'm JB.
I'm JJ.
We'll see ya in the bins.